Alright, what is going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler, and today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Wrcca Nationals in Cougar Buttes in October of 2022. This is the 2.2 Pro competition, which refers to motor on axle cars, or MOAs as we like to call them here on the channel. My friend Thomas over at Fabin801 and myself traveled to the event, and Thomas has multiple MOAs, and he was gracious enough to let me borrow a wheel weight hanger kit to use on my car during competition. This is something that I don't normally run on my car, so it's kind of a new experience, but man, did it boost the performance of my RC4 drive Bully 2 that you can see here as I approach gate number 1. It puts a lot more weight down low in the front of the car and really makes it stick to the rocks. So that's why my wheels are mismatched, but it's well worth that because I don't really care what my car looks like as long as it's performing well. Coming through gate 1, turning right uphill, and then we're going to do another big climb, cutting right. This is a tricky little ledge because the ledge is going to not want you to come up and over it as you approach this gate. But if you time your turn just right, your car will in fact cruise on up and over. I did see quite a few people get pushed off this ledge, including Thomas, but you end up just taking a loop around and you learn from your mistakes as you go. So luckily I was able to time it correct on the first time through. Now there's some really cool features that these cars have if you guys are unfamiliar. I can select to do front wheel drive only or rear wheel drive only. So that can help, like right here, when I want to work the rear of my car downhill, I can put it in rear wheel drive only. The front end essentially locks up to the full capabilities of the drag brake of the front motor, and it allows the rear tires only to spin. Right here, took a spill down off of a ledge, and I made a quick call to go ahead and reposition my car. Now that's 10 points, but I also am fighting time. I've only got 6 minutes to get through the course, and I want to utilize as much time as I can. So making a quick decision like, yeah, you know what, let's just take the repo, which the rules in the WRCCA is that you go back to your previously progressed gate and you put your axle inside the gate. So right there, I essentially repositioned back to a gate, which put me in a great spot to reattempt the next gate. It was super close and easy to get to, rather than fighting my way all the way around and back up. And you know what, I'll take the 10 points. I'm not here to win, I'm here to experience the event, see how I stack up with my style of driving. But overall, just want to have fun and complete courses when possible. So here we go. That was a better approach to that gate, kind of climbing up the crack a little bit more. Now we're going to come down here, do a U-turn, and climb up through this crack. Now personally, these are some of my favorite obstacles, and I have a lot of experience in the Red Rocks of southern Utah running through little cracks and ravines like this. So this is super familiar to me. I totally understand that you want to keep your car balanced on both sides and do what you can to get up and through these. Another aspect of competition driving is that you want to choose the easiest path possible on the way to your next gate. There's no reason to make things harder for yourself if it's not necessary. You can see right there me quickly changing from front wheel drive to four wheel drive. It's just a click on my controller, and it's super easy to switch from front only to rear only. So my car's been going in and out of front drive, rear drive, four wheel drive. I mix it up as I run through this. Doing a little bit of boulder hopping there across a gnarly ledge, and for some reason I decided to try and drive over this bush. Not my brightest moment, but you know, I figured that out pretty quickly. Essentially working our way down to the next gate, which is a gate pointed uphill, but on a steep sideways side hill, I guess you could call it. So I'm going to go ahead and reposition myself, drive up and around this bush, and now I'm going to use a combination of front wheel only and rear wheel only to make my car do a 180-degree turn on an aggressive side hill without falling off of the rock if possible. So right here, you got to know when to take your backups. And I have my car set up because it's a motor on axle car. You can make your motor spin faster than the other one. So in reverse, my rear motor kicks in before the front motor does to help slide the rear out from underneath it if I was on something steep. I have overdrive in reverse to my rear axle, if that makes sense to you. Really cool right there, use of rear burn and front burn, get the car spun around and cruising uphill. So now I'm trying to decide how I want to get to the next gate. It is a very steep climb with a few ledges, so tire placement is going to be very important. I believe the gate width minimum on these courses is somewhere in the 15-inch range, which sounds like a lot, but obviously they set them up to make them difficult. So right here, I'm really trying to get the front end up and really have it get a good bite as it comes up and over the ledge. It's so steep that if I have the rear drive too much compared to how much bite I have in the front, it could easily flip over backwards. So I'm looking for just that right amount of hook on the front end where I trust that the front end is going to stay stuck into the rocks and pull the car up and over, which I found that sweet spot, and the car in fact went right up and over, although I could clearly see it was ready to flip over backwards if I was not careful. This gate ended up a little bit tricky, dropped straight into the crack essentially, and then make a 90-degree corner out of there, but with that front only, makes things so much easier, able to just do wild maneuvers like that. The car is super stable with these weight hanger kits and very predictable in its driving. Again, a steep climb, just trying to let those fronts really bite into the rock, on my belly a little bit there, but just enough traction to pull myself up and out of here. Now that is one thing I will say about Cougar Buttes, is the traction is outstanding out here. It is some of the grippiest rock I've ever driven on, and you can pull off some really wild angles while out there on the rocks. Right here, low on time, trying to drive calm, got a few seconds left to get through this on course, but I also don't want to kill the gate. Front only, get the car lined up and shoot uphill, completing my first course of the day. I'm feeling really good about how things went there, and that is one thing that I mostly tried to focus on, was just getting courses completed while out here at Nationals. Now on this course, I had pre-walked the course as I'd done on all of the courses here at Nationals. I like to come up with a plan before I go and execute out on course, and I felt really good about my plan, and we are going to see an absolute dumpster fire here at Nationals on this course for me. Like I say, I felt super confident. I liked what my plan was, and first gate, trying to side hill, hanging onto the ledge, end up upside down at the bottom of the crack, back to the start gate, and now I'm going to be like completely negative in progress. I'm going away from where the start gate is. I already have to take an upright before the first gate, not real happy about it, but it's also really important to try and keep a solid mindset of not letting negative things affect your overall course run. So I try and brush that one off. We're going to go back up to gate number 1 and attempt the same line and just try and be a little more careful about our approach this time. The idea is to hang it on the tire sidewalls as we work our way through. I think last time I ended up a little bit too much on the middle of the axle and not enough on the sidewall of the tire. So this time we're really hanging on the inside of that driver front. I am not trusting it, but Thomas, who is filming for me, is telling me to trust it. He's got more experience than I, so I kept pushing through, and I'm glad I did because it did go pretty well for me. Right here, I decided to try and go up this rock a little too early, getting back to what I mentioned earlier about don't make things too hard on yourself for no reason. That's exactly what's happening here. I'm driving over this rock for no reason. I could absolutely just drive further up to a shorter ledge that's easier to climb, and that's what I should have done from the start. A little bit less off camber. There we go. Thanks for the thumbs up from Matt up there, trying to make things better for me on course. He's also breaking the tension and not letting me get too serious about it, which is really helpful on course. So shout out to the Wilson brothers for making things light and joking around with us as we went. So now it's kind of just decide where to jump off of this ledge. I try and hop onto that rock, end up upside down, not in a great spot to drive forward. So I think I go into reverse, jump down, get a good view of what's going on. I put it in rear wheel drive only before I put it back in four wheel and come down off that ledge. Now on this next gate, there are multiple line choices you can take through here. I wanted to try going up high right on this side and then transferring into the gate, which I thought looked like an easier path. I think if I had committed a little bit more with a little more throttle, I think it would have stuck a little bit better. But unfortunately, I get axled out on the motors on this car, and then as that back left comes out, it just falls in the hole and it rolls off. Now I'm trying to get myself turned around, end up against a rock, and I don't want to take as many I don't want to take too many reverses because those add up points as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a reverse. Now I'm double axled on small rocks that don't matter to the course at all. It just seems like every move I make here, I'm making some kind of mistake that's tripping me up and stopping me from making progress on this course. I'm definitely starting to get frustrated at this point on course. Trying to work my way up while not hitting cones. I think I put it in front wheel drive only. I think I end up taking a small reverse, which is worth taking the reverse over hitting a gate. So I will give myself credit there. I had the mindset and clarity to know to just take the reverse instead of just being like, oh, whatever, I'll just smash the gate. It's always better to take that small reverse. So here we go. Coming up to this gate, I saw quite a few people get tripped up on this one. And while my car spun a little bit, it did. I think I just got the right line choice on that one. I'd seen a few people do it, and I kind of paid attention to what worked, and luckily got through there. So right here, I tried to back down towards this gate, and I think I just didn't get the angle I needed to start with. And again, getting tripped up, dropping into a bush, the rear end falls off of that ledge. I'm nowhere near where I'm trying to set myself up, so I have to take multiple forward. Okay, I never did back up again. But now I just said to hell with it, I'm driving straight in here, which I had not planned for. So now I'm just making it up on course as I go under time. This is a very steep side hill with a boundary line towards where I'm sitting. There's a little blue chalk line on the rocks. And if you cross that boundary line, it's the equivalent of hitting a gate. So you do not want to cross that boundary. And yes, if you roll across that boundary, it counts as a gate. So don't let your car roll here. Moving our way through that gate. Now we got to get up this little climb on the right side after this gate. And the car's front end just pushes through. I take a reverse, and it's not a big enough reverse. It puts me right back where I was. I take another reverse, and then I take a bigger reverse, which is the smart move. Trying to get these front tires to hook. Finally, they grab hold and pull the back of the car up. Now we are working our way up and around this gate, which I'd seen many people do, and I knew that it was possible to get the car to stick. So I take another reverse here. And by the way, you can point out. If you acquire too many points on course, you essentially DNF, and you can only acquire a maximum of 40 points before you point out. So luckily reverses don't count for a whole lot, but if you mix reversing with a bunch of hitting gates, it's going to add up quick. I did get through there clean. Now I'm real low on time, and just trying to get to this next gate. I didn't want to do anything stupid and acquire extra points for no reason, and I believe somewhere right about there, I time out. And that's the end of the course. Like I say, total dumpster fire. Things did not go according to plan, even though I felt really confident going into that course. So there you guys go. That's how things go bad for me out there at Nationals. Now I have DNF'd on 2 courses out of 5. So really for this one, I've got nothing to lose. And so I go into this one, again, feeling confident with the game plan. This one, there's a lot of ground to cover. And so I know that I need to keep my pace up to get through the whole thing, and also try and get through clean where possible. Getting real close on that front tire. I couldn't even turn full passenger because my tire would have bumped the cone, so I had to drive a little more straight off camber before making that turn. This is one of my favorite gates in all of Nationals right here. Nice shot from Thomas up between the legs right there. Working our way up this off camber crack. It's just a super cool obstacle. I like where they placed the gate. I made sure to get my front tire on the inside of the crack to not allow the car to fall all the way into the crack. Pop up and out of there. Now I am trying to keep my pace up without flipping the car unnecessarily between gates. Trying to keep it right side up the entire time. This is kind of a cool one. You got to make a transition up and across this rock and then drop into a crack through a turn where a gate is. Nothing real bad, but just covering the ground to get there and get to the next gate is what the real challenge is. Popping up and over this crack, across this little spine. Now this gate, like I had mentioned earlier in the video, I drive cracks and whatnot a lot in my trucks. This is a gate that I felt probably the most confident of the whole course. I knew that I could handle this. I know how to keep my car balanced. And for whatever reason, even with all the grip in this rock, my car does not want to go up this. And I'm trying to work my car around using different techniques of maybe I'll get the rear axle more angled, maybe I'll work the front left and right, try and dip the right side low, dip the left side low, try and get my left rear high, and then dip the front left low. Right there, making a little bit of progress and just end up getting spit out. So I say, okay, I'm going to take a reverse and I'm going to back out of the obstacle, get myself a full reset, and see if, somehow I just ended up slightly off the line. And what's going on here is when I dipped my front right in, it seems like it wants to go further, but if I go too far in, it touches the top of the tire and pushes my whole car backwards. And so I'm just fighting the car left and right, and what I'm really doing here is burning up a lot of time. And so I realize this and I say, you know what? To hell with it, we're going to go up and around and we're going to smash this gate because for some reason my car just doesn't want to go through this. And honestly, I can't see anything on camera that I could have tried differently. I think I attempted all the lines that I can see to this date. However, it just didn't want to stick, and sometimes that's how it goes. So you got to know when to say, okay, time to get out of here. And I stand behind my decision of when I decided to call it. This gate was extremely steep and very tricky. You had to time a front burn to hold the front end on, but it's so steep that your belly smashes into the rock really hard if you front burn too much. So I take a reverse here, and you got to time the correct amount of front burn and four-wheel drive. You got to time that correct so that your car gets a bite but pulls the whole car up and over. And if you don't do it enough, it does what I just did right there, and it flips over backwards. So now we're coming into this for the third attempt. You can see me on the controller there, and what I'm doing is adjusting the overdrive to the front axle. I can tell my motors what I want the throttle mix to do to give me more or less overdrive. Now that I can see the car wants this line right here, but the only way that that works is actually taking a cone. So now I've taken 2 gates in a row, which is not helping my overall score, and it's putting me closer to pointing out, which can get you in real trouble. If you are too close to pointing out, you're unable to take any more gates, or even upright yourself if you get stuck upside down. So you can get in these weird predicaments where you can only have 4 points left, and if you try and upright yourself, it costs 5, and you're unable to do it, so you're just stuck upside down for the rest of your run. So this is why pointing out is important, and thanks to our judges in our group today, they were really good at keeping an eye on how many points you had remaining, and they could tell me that as I was running through the course. Good off-camber one right here, use of rear-wheel drive only, wiggling the front end a little bit, getting my car set up straight for this gate. Now, I got to give a shout out to Thomas, who is smart and tells me, skip the bonus, get to the end of the course, and I go ahead and ignore that advice and head over for the bonus to try and get some negative points. Wiggling my front servo, I think I'm in front wheel drive only, just trying to squeeze under the bottom side of this gate, and I think I have like 48 seconds left, and I've still got 3 gates to go. So things are going to get spicy here. It's time to get moving and time to start running through some gates. Okay, maybe I had 4 gates left and a little more than 45 seconds, but it's getting low. Here we go. Now we're going down into this gate. This one had eaten up a lot of time for people, and I'm trying to use rear-wheel drive only to get my car set up as wide as possible so I can make this U-turn in the most efficient way I can. There we go, rear-wheel drive, pushing the car down the ledge, squaring up to the climb. Now there it is, turning my front tire a little bit higher, on my way up and out, and you can see just kind of the frantic movements. We're no longer rock crawling, we're rock bouncing, hopping up and over. This is important to pre-walk your course so you know where you're going and you can anticipate where to go. Again, real low on time, and I don't want to take any more gates because I only had enough points to take 1 more. I made a really wise decision here to clean gate 9, where I've got 1 gate left. I think I've got like 5 seconds left. Coming up and over, floor it through the gate, and take the last gate, which I had enough points for. And there we go, ending out our 3rd run for this video, just in the nick of time. And I was super excited. Had the adrenaline going, real low on time, cruising through the last few gates. Was able to get through the ones I needed to clean, and took the last gate with less than 3 seconds left, jumping through the finish. I think they officially said I had 1 second remaining on that run. So that was my 2.2 Pro WRCCA Nationals run in Cougar Buttes, California in 2022. Again, I was there for the experience. I had a great time hanging out with everybody. Awesome night runs, hanging out by the campfire with people, just talking RCs and rock crawling. It's always an awesome time with all of my RC nerd friends out in the desert. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to get subscribed, drop a comment down below if you were there or if you plan on attending the next WRCCA Nationals. We will see you guys out there. My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. We will see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.
Yeah, 105 driver. Here.